Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show. Good morning once again. And I'm Natalie. Oji is here, 2nd of October, finally Thursday again. It's almost like it's still like last week when we already watched and it was Thursday. We still thought it was Tuesday. And here we are, a day to Friday.
Don't forget this. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
I'm okay, fine, great. This is pre-Friday, by the way. You know, whenever it gets to Tuesday, you can actually perceive Friday around the corner. But yeah, you just have to still do what you have to do.
Whenever I get to Tuesday, we still perceive Friday around
Tuesday again.
You just love this Tuesday.
Oh my God.
I rebuke it. I will not go back to Tuesday without you. I will not. Let me rebuke it.
Did you say Tuesday again?
Yes.
What's wrong with me?
I don't know. You just love the Tuesday. Maybe you go clubbing on Tuesdays.
Oh,
partying on a Tuesday. Okay, we're not here alone. Barrister Chidi Ujoatumba is here, a human rights lawyer. Barrister Ujoatumba, thank you so much for joining this morning.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
So a lot of interesting headlines though. It's Thursday, it's not Tuesday.
It's still Thursday.
It's still Thursday.
I know that Oji is always making incantations and convoking Friday to, come up.
It's Tuesday he's convoking.
Okay.
Whenever we get to Thursday, you say it's Tuesday.
I don't know what's wrong with me on Thursday and Tuesdays.
It's just the TT factor.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's look at headlines this morning, starting with Nigerian News Direct. Pengassan suspends strike after federal government steps into Dangote refinery dispute as union warns it will resume action if deal is breached. Dangote agrees to recall sacked workers. Demolished trade fair buildings possessed no valid approval. Lagos government replies Obi. Ohaneze blasts governors, Igbo leaders over Nnamdi Kanu release, demands engagement with Tinubu. On the Punch, Pengassan strike, NNPC laments losses as union halts action. 16% of crude output, 30% of gas supply disrupted during strike. Dispute risks economic instability, according to the federal government. Fubara sacks commissioners, others. Nigeria at 65, Tinubu's reforms yet to erase hardship, according to experts. 853 billion naira crime proceeds recovered in 1 year, EFCC remarks. One doctor attends to 9,083 Nigerians, NAD laments. Moving on to Daily Trust, insecurity, over 180 schools shot in North. On The Nation, governors renew pledge to speed up development in states. Also here, 26 die in Kogi boat accident. How Arise TV reporter died, according to neighbors. Pengassan fears collapse of deal with Dangote refinery. Anyanwu voids Damagum suspension of Akwa Ibom PDP exco. On Daily Sun, 2027, Atiku opens up, expresses readiness to give way for younger, vibrant candidates, mocks Tinubu over 65th Independence Address, his reforms crushing Nigerians, according to the ADC. APC's incompetent administration has diminished Nigeria, according to Obi. Akpabio assures Tinubu of more defection of opposition governors to APC. Court suspends 2025-2026 admissions in OAU and Unilag. PDP asks IGP EFCC to probe attempts to pay out 12.75 billion naira Ocean local government funds as legal fear.
Okay, starting from The Guardian. Nigeria at 65, leaders call for reforms on poverty, insecurity, flattering democracy. Fostering democracy, I beg your pardon. Tinubu, Ododo mourn as victims of Kogi boat mishap rise to 26. Dangote's rift with Pengassan unfortunate, says man. Probe plot to fleece Ocean. LGs of 12.75 billion. PDP tells IGP EFCC. And moving over to this day, Tinubu canvasses new orientation, urges Nigerians to live to believe, put country first. Inaugurates newly renovated National Art Theatre named after Professor Wole Soyinka. U.S. government shuts down on Congress, fails to reach new funding deal. Wale Tinubu gets Lifetime Achievement Award at Africa Energy Week. And this one says PDP asks IGP to probe attempt to pay 12.75 billion naira Osun LG funds as legal fees. And moving over to Nigerian Tribune, Dangote, Pengassan suspends strike, issues fresh threat. How FG broker choose over dispute. Lagos government forward to be on trade fair demolition, insists buildings had no approval. Kwara, security forces attack kidnappers' hideouts. Government urges limited movement. Scarcity of cooking gas hits Lagos vendors. Sell 1,600 naira per kg. Don't sell our assets in oil industry. ADC cautions Tinubu. Reports warns Nigerian to of declining global oil demands. Urges focus on non-oil exports tax reforms. In health, it's good to know that eating more fruits protect lungs against air pollution, as stated by study. Probe attempts to pay out 12.7 billion naira Osun LG funds as legal fees. PDP asks IGP EFCC. PDP is confused. Party should be ignored, says APC spokesman. Kogi mourns as 26 feared killed, others missing in boat accidents. Moving over to Salient Times. Pengassan suspends strike action after FG intervention, vows to resume strike without notice if strike suspension out of respect to government. Tinubu pays tribute to Macaulay, Azikiwe Awolowo, others on Independence Day. I am in danger of sudden death. Nnamdi Kanu lists ailments in DSS custody. Independence Day, Nigeria has been greatly diminished under APC's leadership, says Obi, man charged with murdering his parents' brother at their home. Governor Fubara disengages Rivers commissioners affected by Supreme Court judgment. Zamfara, Kwara, Benue listed as Nigeria's poorest managed states. Lastly, on Salient Times, dream big, I'll give you wings to fly, Tinubu tells youths. Lastly, Daily Global, we ended fuel subsidies, multiple FX rates to reset Nigeria, says Tinubu. Sterling Bank scraps account maintenance fees. Dangote refinery dispute. Pengassan suspends strike after FG intervention. An Operation Afia Nakua, I beg your pardon, sees brigade troops arrest fake police officers with 2 highlanders loaded with cannabis in Taraba. Ubebolo is unprepared for governance, says PDP. Lagos 2027, Jan Don declares governorship bid under APC. And lastly, on Daily Global, Fubara sacks commissioners, others.
All right, thank you, Oji, for those headlines. We'll start with Daily Sun. 2027, Atiku opens up, expresses readiness to give way for younger, vibrant candidates. That's the boldest story there. He revealed this during an interview with BBC Hausa, saying that if a younger, more acceptable candidate emerges in ADC, that he's just going to give way for him.
But you
have
to add something that he said there. He said it is a conditional word. He said, I might. Put that into consideration.
Yeah.
So you'll be considering that if a younger, more acceptable candidate emerges. So he's basically trying to urge younger people, the youths, to come forward and run for political office. Do you think he means these words, Barrister Chidi?
I'm still looking at it. I will take whatever Alhaji Atiku says now with a pinch of salt, because I know his political pedigree. I know what he has tried to achieve in the political arena, and if he says, "I am giving," I'm stepping aside for younger politicians, I will take that to the bank. But if he says, if a younger candidate emerges, which means he will be contesting. So if he contests, who else will win in ADC? It doesn't make sense. So I take that word with a pinch of salt. Is that he's stepping out for the primaries in ADC to be contested among younger candidates, or he contests. So there's nothing like if a younger candidate emerges. Atiku is a political big weight. You cannot overemphasize that. So what they are saying is, APC right now zone this thing to the south, okay? And one will look at it as something that if ADC really want to contest and contest vehemently, they should pick a better candidate than Tinubu from the south. That's what we are saying. Okay, if they pick a better candidate or someone who have a more political pedigree than Tinubu, if they pick that person from the south, then they will be able to align themselves with that, regional zoning, and also contest vehemently in an election if INEC will come up with necessary reforms that as we wait. So then we might be looking at a keenly contested election in 2027. But if ADC, the big coalition, end up coming up with a northern candidate, even me, I'll vote Tinubu. Yes, because power should not leave south.
But
yes.
The question now is, who is that candidate who has that clout, that could battle a Tinubu in an election, a political heavyweight?
Peter Obi. It's not something that we hide.
But in conversations
it's only Peter Obi.
In conversations these days. He's missing in conversations these days.
He's missing in conversations because they have found out that Atiku is not letting go. Okay, mind you, Obi have been part of the coalition right when it started, but lately you can see that he's missing in action, withdrawing and listening to what PDP are saying, also holding his background in LP. So this is politics. He really has to play very well. Obi will continue to contest. He is a candidate that Nigerian politics needs. I don't know how long they will give him the opportunity, but I think if the ADC eventually gets Obi to be their flag bearer in 2027, buckle your seatbelt.
Barrister Chidi, I wouldn't like us to overthink this. I mean, at surface value, Atiku is saying he would step aside if a younger...
Not a step,
he would step aside for a younger candidate if one emerges. But then we look at ADC as a party. How many prominent young candidates are part of ADC? ADC is a coalition that's come together of people that we all know, right? So is it a political statement, knowing the party and the current structure, the current leadership structure of that party?
Leadership in any political party starts from top to bottom, okay? Atiku being one of the leaders of ADC and a political big weight in this country, I think if he steps down, those in his political pedigree, you can understand, they cannot continue to contest. If Atiku says, I'm stepping down for a younger politician, it will also encourage more younger politicians to join ADC. Okay, because he will retire all his mates, all those in his age, he will retire all of them. He said, it will not be an Atiku thing. It will not be an ADC thing. And if they told that part, Oji, they will just blend with obedience. You understand? It will blend with, and it will be a very big force to reckon with. If these, fathers can take a seat and be what we call elder statesmen, okay, providing the structure, providing the advice, providing the technicalities that are required for a young political party like ADC to be rooted in the grassroots, okay? They have the money, they have the political experience, okay? So let them throw it out there, give Nigeria a candidate that, the masses cannot say no to when it comes to 2027. In as much as we are expecting that political reforms like INEC and other regulations will be put in place to make sure that we will witness a free and a fairer election in 2027. ADC should also put their house in order to towards the part of what Atiku is hinting on, okay? The need for a younger candidate to, flag their flag.
Yes, he said what he said, right? And, it could actually be a political statement. But I want to ask this question. Who is a younger candidate? So, is Peter Obi a younger candidate? Is Amechi, he's 60, a younger candidate? Or are they looking at individuals who probably might be like in their 40s or in their 50s? Who is a younger candidate?
When you use the word younger candidate, there are things you have to put in place. Our politics, okay, and also age. Age cannot. There are people who have been in politics for a very long time. They are still young, but probably they may not have anything to offer. But there are people who have moved into politics, let's say last 5 years, last 10 years. And when you count their achievement in the private sector, when you count their achievement in the political field, you can bear me witness that they have something to offer. So this idea of a younger candidate is encompassing. It's not just about someone whose age is within a particular, bracket. It also has to do with the person's history, past history, political history, pedigree, and it also has to do with the person's competence and ability to rule, to govern, to march this nation forward. It requires a lot of fortitude. It's not just something that anyone can say because I'm young, I want you to give it to me. Business and public management affair requires a high level of intelligence. It requires someone who has been tested and trusted in almost every field of human endeavor.
The willpower and the funds too.
So let's look at another headline now on the Punch. Fubara sacks commissioners, others, and this is in accordance to a Supreme Court judgment. The first thing that came to mind when I saw this headline, as I read it earlier, was, I hope he took permission. That was the first thing that came to mind. Then I continued to read the write-down. We said, in accordance to a Supreme Court judgment that invalidated those appointments that he made. So he has thanked them for their service in the past 2 years, and he has relieved them of their duties. And we know that this judgment was at the time when the FCT minister and Fubara were having their back and forth, and of course, the Rivers State House of Assembly. So now Fubara has heeded to that judgment, and he has discharged them of their duties. What's your reaction to this? Again, Governor Fubara bows.
Yes, it's not really a kind of it's not a fallout of the agreement during the emergency rule. No, it's a direct implementation of a Supreme Court order. It's not a fallout. It's not, you can call this one of the, because the Supreme Court also say that the appointment were not endorsed by a majority members of the House. So that was the Supreme Court rule. And then I think he's obeying it, and there's nothing he can do. He cannot continue to function as a governor with those commissioners, because the law have stated it crystal clear that they were not endorsed, they were not approved by a majority. Four members of the House cannot really in any way give consent, for the approval of commissioners. Now that the coast is clear, now that he is bowing and continues to bow, so let him consult his political godfathers. Let the list be made. Let's know who will make the list, because right now we know exactly what is going on. You understand? There's no need of pretext. Okay? Yeah. Probably Wike will bring his own list. I don't know others. They will bring their list, and he will now consider the list. He will now consider the list and then approve. You understand? Because once you have been politically gagged, once you have been caged, you understand?
I should that will be the protocol.
Yes, you cannot do any other. You cannot do. He cannot do any other. Those members of the House, yes, I know that there's this word like peace. You understand? In the air, they are still, gnashing their teeth and waiting for him to, probably make any mistake or go against what they might have signed during the emergency rule, for them to pounce on him and, start shouting impeachment all over again.
Salient Times. Dream big. I will make your wings. I will give you wings to fly, says Tinubu as he talks to the youths. So these assertions, how feasible? Knowing fully well, brain drain, Japa syndrome, how the youths always think Nigeria is a place that dreams die. How feasible is this assertion by our president that he's telling the youths they should dream big? I'll give you wings to fly.
That sounds like a lullaby. Let me tell you something. I encourage Mr. President. Look, when he came out with that fund for education fund or something, it's really a good one, okay? But at the end of the day, like you rightly pointed out, they will go through the university, use this fund, and then they will fly outside the shores of this country. You see, we really need to put the economy in a way that someone who is coming out can look at it and say, yes, I really want to invest in this country. You understand? And we have to look at these tax issues and so many things that are discouraging people and companies to leave this country. Have you looked at the number of companies that have left Nigeria since the inception of this administration? So you can't be telling us to dream big, that he will give us wings to fly. We're not drinking Red Bull. What we're saying here is that he should put the country in order. He should put the economy in order. He should hire the best brains, irregardless of their ethnicity, okay? We should have an economic team that is creating jobs. We should have an economic team that is encouraging foreign investment. We should have an economic team that is encouraging the youth, you understand, to go into entrepreneur. The entrepreneurial energy of the Nigerian youth, it's something else. Look at the economy, how bad the economy is, but businesses are springing up everywhere. Whether they went to school or not, these youths are trying to eke out a dry existence from the least opportunity that they can see out there. Not to talk of when you look at what have you talked about credit facility, the ability to have access to credit facility. There are poignant things that Mr. President can look into if he wants to create a youth will one day grow. We can never become. When I was young, they told me that we are the leaders of tomorrow. But now I am. How old am I? And my fathers are still leading me. Those things they don't make sense to anybody. They don't make sense. If you really want to help the youth, there are critical infrastructural issues that you will attend to, and the youth will vote for you. The things will be okay, because I don't believe in coming to the pages of the newspaper and make promises. Okay, you must touch me where it hurts. You must touch them where it hurts. I'm talking about employment. I'm talking about education. I'm talking about entrepreneur. Okay, I'm talking about credit facilities. I'm talking about bringing investment for them, because everybody will not start business. There are those who are properly educated, sufficiently educated to work for others. You understand? All these banks and insurance companies and all these multinational companies, when they come here, they hire the best brain. They hire people who work for them. So in as much as we're encouraging you to go into business, we're also encouraging the government to kind of look at insecurity, because insecurity and the slow pace of court judgment is actually what is discouraging foreign investors to come into this country. If they can take care of it, more investors will come. And when more investors come, more companies will be established. And the youth who are coming out of the university on daily basis, on yearly basis, they will have job. They will have job. A youth will definitely grow and become a man. So if this enabling environment are not created, where do we go from here?
That's the big question. So let's move to Pengassan. Pengassan has suspended its strike.
That's the big one.
Following intervention by the federal government.
I said it here, if you could remember last 2 weeks, that the way this Pengassan and Dangote, whatever is going, we will pray that the federal government will wage in such a way that they can tackle the problem. Why I said it is because of the sensitive nature of oil. Okay, the drilling, the production, and the distribution of energy, it's sacrosanct to our daily existence. You cannot, play or toy with it, okay? Because even you could remember what happened then. That very first day, the news was out. No filling station was open here in India. Let's speak from here.
September.
Yeah, they couldn't open because the news got out there and people started panicking and filling stations started opening and the price started hitting the roof immediately. That's where we are. We are an energy-driven country. So policies affecting energy should be treated with immediate effect. It's not something that we should allow to linger and cause strike and cause other strike. And because at the end of the day, it will go down to the masses. They are the hardest hit, okay? Any increment in price, the politicians and the bourgeois, it doesn't affect them. Even if there's hunger in this land for 100 days, for 100 months, there are people who will not feel it. So when we talk about political sensitivity, we are encouraging leaders to implement policies and make sure that policy implementation does not delay so much in such a way that the people at the bottom doesn't suffer. When there is increase in fuel, when there's increase in food, is the poor man over there who depends on the federal government salary every day that suffers, and they should always ensure that they come into this kind of arrangement.
Pengassan is not calling off the strike without its own, shall we say, word. It had the final word, and it said it would resume if Dangote decides to renege on the agreement. So somehow they're handling Dangote with very strong gloves. You can say that. So if he does renege on the agreement, they're not afraid to embark on yet another, right?
Yes,
so they had the last word.
They're not backing off. They are still kind of, reading the riot act for them silently, telling them that they have a responsibility to carry out here if you want us to really continue to forget about the strike. That's why I like strike. It's a tool to bring the negotiation into the table. It's a tool to get the government to do what they have promised to do. It's a tool. It's the only power of the private sector that they can use to, bring their opinion, make their voice to be heard. But they shouldn't, use it, they shouldn't use it arbitrarily or use it, just for their own personal selfish gain. It should be used for the betterment of not just the private sector, but all Nigerians. That's what I'm trying to say.
In the whole debacle between Pengassan and Dangote Group, where did you stand?
I stand with Dangote workers. Okay, I really stand with them. I know that Dangote refinery is a private refinery. And I know that in private refineries or in private establishment, okay, things don't really work out, or rather, you don't really enjoy most of the benefits that are available for you in public sectors, okay, where you can enjoy a whole lot of benefits, a whole lot of benefits. My father worked with the federal government, and I know all kind of benefits that they used to enjoy. And now being a member of this labor workforce, you understand, also protect their rights. So if you allow them to be just there, they will be under the wings and caprices of Dangote refinery management, and that won't really go well with them. And Dangote being the only functional refinery in the country now, so their workers should also be sensitive. Nigeria should also be sensitive to things that can trigger off strike, either internally or externally. So I stand with the workers. They should be allowed to join the labor force, rather the labor force, and also their rights should be protected. And if their rights are not protected, other people in Nigeria can even go on strike, because their work now is very, very important. That's the only functional refinery in the whole country, and to an extent, it has stabilized the price of fuel for some time now. You can bear me witness that if you now remove Dangote refinery in the picture and unleash these marketers who import from all, the price will continue to go up. Okay, so I think that Dangote workers should be well protected. Yeah,
and also we strike a balance too. It's someone's private business, and sometimes union could be damaging, by the way, because of their laws and regulations and all that whatnot. And a man has to protect his business. How do you now draw the line between that and this?
See, let me tell you, Dangote is trading with what we can call Nigerian national cake. Okay, the crude oil that he refines. Okay, where does it come from? Where does it come from? So even allowing an individual to own a refinery is very, very sensitive. You understand? It should have been a PPP, like a public-private partnership, because it's the crude oil from Nigeria that you are refining. Dangote is not importing crude oil, okay, unrefined crude oil from any other oil company, oil nations of the world. It's Nigerian crude oil that he's refining. So there's a kind of a way we should allow this thing to flow in such a way that he should. Yes, it's a private company. He set it up with his money, okay. But you should also know that without the Nigerian business environment, without employing Nigerians, without Nigerian crude oil, your refinery will not exist in limbo. Okay, there are other enabling environment that is making that refinery to work, and then having all those benefits. You understand? There's too much money in oil. There's a whole lot of money in oil. So he should allow those who work every day to enjoy those benefits. Like you rightly pointed out, let there be a kind of let them strike an agreement, because he who sets up business should also determine, his margin and all the rest of them. So the workers' strike, the workers' enjoyment, the workers' remuneration, and the right they have to become member of this labor force should not be a clog in the wheel of the refinery. You understand? Because they should work hand in glove. Yeah.
Okay. Still on salient times. I am in danger of sudden death. Nabikano lists ailments in DSS custody. One would think that, the last court session, that his health condition could have been on the front burner. It could be the reason why they could release this man to go seek rightful medical attention. You could go to X and you saw the wife, calling out and reading out the diagnosis and all that, and from the doctor, Professor Ahaji, and all his organs that they are failing.
Yeah, so let's create more, even more context around the ailments that he reeled out. Now, he revealed that he is battling with tinnitus and sleep deprivation, which he described as among the greatest threats to his survival. He disclosed other diseases, according to this newspaper, to include liver, pancreas, kidney, bladder, prostate, and white matter disease, sleep apnea, and most critically, tinnitus, the constant internal chirping sound in his ears, meaning that he constantly hears a chirping sound in his ears. And the letter was titled "The Danger of Tinnitus and Sleep Deprivation," which he thinks could even drive more impact in his hypertension. Right? So go ahead, Oji.
My question is, could Nigeria be caught in danger?
I'm worried about Nnamdi Kanu's health. I'm very, very worried about it because it's not something that we should use to play politics. Yes, I know that the matter is in court, but when someone complains of ill health, I'm a lawyer. When someone complains of ill health, it's something that should be treated, with critical attention. Nnamdi Kanu should be allowed to access the best medical attention. If he dies, will you continue to prosecute his corpse? Come on, the federal government should. And have you heard that since his incarceration, he has never. Health is not something that he pops up and I'm sick. This is the very first time this guy is setting up a critical alarm concerning his health. And I think that he should be given the opportunity to be taken care of. Even if they can't do that, you understand, his lawyers should also see how they can take the right medical personnel to where he is, so that at least he should be getting a day-to-day medical attention until the time probably they will not allow him to either be flown out or to be taken to the proper medical facility where he will be properly taken care of.
In the courtroom, the judge gave the NMA president 8 days, if I could recall correctly, to go there and diagnose the medical condition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So it's about access to the best health. The courtroom seems to have told the NMA president to go there and diagnose him. And this letter, where he revealed all of these conditions, was actually addressed to the NMA.
Okay.
Right? So that has now been charged with finding out if these conditions are real or they're not.
Yes, because if you look at the motion that he filed for him to be released on the ground of ill health, he made mention of the fact that his health is deteriorating, and he listed most of the things that you read out here. So what the court is doing here is to get also an independent an independent assessment of his health, so that they will know exactly what to treat. I think that they should do that with immediate effect. And if the result comes out and he needs adequate medical attention, he should be taken away from DSS facility so that he can get the adequate. Staying there alone is enough to break someone's health. Stay for how many years? Let me tell you something. House arrest, the law, you can't stay more than 15 years. You can't keep someone in a house arrest for more than 15 years. It's international law. You understand? It's not just Nigerian law. But this guy had been in incarceration, in DSS incarceration for more than 6 years. If you are in prison, you have the opportunity to interact with other prisoners. You will see other inmates, you understand? And there are other activities that can make you to be,
You make prison sound like an amusement park.
Prison is better than a solitary. Yes, now prison is better. You can even watch television, listen to news. If you go to where they have established this thing to actually function like a rehabilitation center or more like correctional facility, okay, you have all the facilities there. But here we don't have that. But sometimes when you keep someone in a solitary confinement in a particular place, it will break him mentally, psychologically, and in every other ramification. The person's health is expected to deteriorate. So what I'm saying is that the health people instructed to go and examine his health should do that with immediate effect, so that we would determine the necessary medical attention that should be given to him within the shortest possible time. Yeah.
Legally speaking, do you think that the court is doubting the credibility of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's claims? Because at the end of the day, with all of the things he has reeled out, and somehow it's still not being taken as something that he should be discharged for to get access to proper medical care, are they doubting it? Do they think he's trying to use that as a ploy to leave DSS custody?
Well, you can't really say it's a doubt. It is the responsibility of
if
the
it's
court.
not a doubt, Barrister Chidi, then why do they need the NMA president to go there and
Verify.
prove beyond reasonable doubt?
Because the assessment came from one side. There should be also an assessment from the other side.
Then
So that when a judge
doesn't that spell a doubt?
No. If you use the word doubt,
What does doubt mean?
doubt means that you don't trust a process, or you don't trust something, or you don't trust a piece of evidence. You understand? Things are being, this is a criminal offense, okay? And in criminal offense, you prove beyond reasonable doubt. In criminal offense, you prove beyond reasonable doubt. Now, for the judge to be sure that he is going to give a verdict or kind of give a ruling that will enable Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be taken away from the DSS custody or to be flown out of this country, the judge wants to make sure that he's giving that verdict on a tested, or rather cross-checked medical documents. That's why he's telling the NMA to go back there and carry out a medical assessment. They can take his urine, his blood and everything, bring equipment and run a holistic blood test and then write a report. Once that report comes out, there's no way they can... I have been in a case where private practitioners were asked to examine someone, and at the end of the day you find out that their own examination is a little bit different from what the government examination came out with, and the court will have to look at two of them and then take decision based on what's available before them. Yeah.
Right. So you're saying that there's a doubt then?
Okay. You want me to give you that word?
Why did you throw your hands up in the air?
Because
why did you throw your hands up? Is it doubt? No, because everything you said justifies that there's a doubt, and they have to clear the doubt by verifying from both sides. And in medical practice, it's called a second opinion, isn't it? Right. So after the court proceeding, legal counsel to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not appear too happy with the judgment, and they appealed to the NMA not to end up being, shall we say, what's the best word to use without inciting, right? Should not get compromised.
Okay. Yes.
To not get compromised by the federal government,
They
right?
should not.
So there was that appeal
Even what
by
they
the
are doing
representatives.
also should be kind of verified. Okay, if you look, it's all a medical process. It's a test. Okay, if you say you arrive at this point, tell us how you arrive at that point. What did you use to conduct your test? What kind of test did you conduct? In what environment did you conduct that test? We cannot use Nnamdi Kanu as a specimen. For God's sake, if this guy said that he's sick, he's sick. We don't need to bring a medical doctor from Beijing or India to testify. A man said that he's sick. So the best and the most important thing we can do is to verify that test, which these people have to do now. And once they do that, I think you should be given the opportunity to. There's no way they can conduct a test and seeing that his health is deteriorating and they are writing that he's feeling well. I don't think we should let us not get to that point. Let Nigerian politics not get to the point where someone will be denied of the right to take care of himself through a falsified medical record. I pray we don't get to that point. I pray we don't get to that point.
I pray we don't get to that point because things are getting too serious, and I don't even see the reason why an individual such as Nnamdi Kanu, knowing fully well the kind of court followership he has and all that, and they are playing with fire at this point in time. Because if anything happens to this man, it's going to tell on all of us.
Yeah, it's going to be. It will be a big political problem to take care of. But if you can allow me to flow into another newspaper headline I saw today, when the Ohaneze and the head of Ohaneze is calling on governors and Nigerians and well-meaning.
So now, because of Ohaneze is apparently factionalized at this point, while you go ahead with your analysis, I will confirm the exact faction that statement is coming from. But go ahead.
It's true. Okay.
Let's flow into it.
Ohaneze is saying that we should look at an alternative means of solving Nnamdi Kanu's problem, which I have been saying it here over and over again, because Nnamdi Kanu is not the only one who have been charged with terrorism. Okay, Iboho, am I right?
Yeah.
And Elza Zak or something. There are so many people in this country who have been charged with terrorist-related charges. Okay, but their people stepped in. Okay, their kingsmen woke up. Okay, they used a whole lot of things to carry out the campaign, drop your call for your secession call, and there's so many things that they did to bring them out from having a case with the government. So I think that's what with Nnamdi Kanu, his case is political, is highly political. Our governors and our past governors, our leaders, political, cultural leaders, we should all rise and go out there and engage Tinubu on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And if we do that, I believe that it will resolve the case faster than expecting. That one is even measurable. What you can achieve with Tinubu is measurable, but what you can achieve in a court of law is not measurable, because one adjournment can keep the case far away for the next 6 months or next 1 year, and there's nothing you can do about that. So I don't know the faction of Ohaneze that is coming up with this call, but I'm also giving voice to that call for our leaders, our political leaders, and our traditional leaders to all rise and make a case for Nnamdi Kanu, a case that Mr. President cannot say no to. And let's see whether we can come to the end, we can bring his incarceration to an end instead of waiting for the court to, give a verdict.
Okay, so I said I'll confirm. So this is coming, this statement was made in Abakaliki, and it's coming from the one that has a Deputy President General named Okechukwu Isiguzoro.
Okay.
So if you know, let's leave it at that. Thank you, Barr Chidi, for joining the
What
show
an interesting
today.
edition.
Also good to have you, and of course we do have a long way to go, but we'll convene again.
Okay.
I'm sure in no long time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The Morning Show returns in seconds, and when we come back, we'll be looking at regional stories. What are Nigerians saying as Nigeria marks Independence Day 65 years on? Stay tuned.